Hi everyone, it's Alia or Cake Legend from TikTok, and in today's video we're going to be making this hat cake from the video game Hat in Time. This was a birthday cake for my older brother, and I've never played the game before, so I had to get my sister, who also plays the game, to help me out with this. I started by making a 6-inch cake that was about 5 inches tall after I had stacked it, and while that was chilling, I made my buttercream and dyed it a nice purple color. Well, it's more like an indigo color. When the cake was nice and firm, I took it out of the fridge and started to carve it into a hat shape. To do this, I only cut the bottom half of the cake, and I started with very small cuts because once you cut it off, you can't really put it back on. So I went all the way around, sawing off very shallow pieces, like barely anything. Then I went around and took off just a little bit more. My plan was to carve off as little as possible and use the buttercream to make more of a hat shape by having the buttercream layer thicker on the top half and thinner on the bottom half of the cake. So once I got my desired shape, I used my large offset spatula and my bench scraper to apply my buttercream. As you can see, I am doing no crumb coat, and if you'd like to know how to do this as well, check out my no crumb coat tutorial where I demonstrate how to do this with American buttercream and Swiss meringue. Once I had my cake iced, I put it back in the fridge for a few minutes, and then I used this little flat tip to pipe buttercream along the edge to create the brim, or the trim, whatever it's called, the flat part of the hat that sticks out. I piped 3 lines going all the way around, flat on the board, and then I started to layer them so that it was a little sloped, because my sister told me that's a very important detail to this hat. So I piped down the layers and then I used a small offset to smooth it out. After that, I started rolling out some fondant to create the yellow decoration that goes around the hat, and then I made 3 badges. And I really don't have any tricks or tips for you guys at this point because all I did was roll out a big strip of yellow fondant and then I cut it so both sides were flat and then just stuck that on the cake. And for the badges, as you can see, I was just copying an image and cutting out circles or cutting out the custom shapes with an X-Acto blade and just sticking them on until it looked like the badge. I know that's a horrible explanation, but that's what I did. I'm not super experienced with fondant, so I was just winging it, and I used some edible markers to create the outlines. But yeah, there really was no strategy for this, so sorry. For this part, my sister told me which badges were the best in the game and which ones would look the best on the cake. And I only did 3 because I didn't want the cake to be too full, and I wanted you to be able to see most of them on the front side. Plus, I'm not the fastest when it comes to fondant since I don't use it super often, so I went with 3. But if you're making this cake, please feel free to do as many as you choose. Once those were all made, I let them sit for a little bit to dry because I was so scared of ruining them. And then my sister helped me figure out where to place them on the cake. Obviously, I wanted to use one to hide that seam where the 2 fondant pieces connect on the yellow ribbon decoration, and then for the rest, my sister told me that they are supposed to be randomly placed, but also she was so particular about where. So this is what we ended up doing, and I think it looked pretty good. I finished it off by piping a message on the top of the cake with yellow buttercream, and then it was finished. To all the people who play this game, I hope I did it justice, and I hope you're proud. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you try making this Hat in Time cake, tag me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!